Citizenship. കുടിമകൻ, കുടിയുരിമ, പൗരൻ, പൗരത്വം.
Nagrika.
We the people of India.
We the people of India
have solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens.
Are you a Hindu?
Punjabi.
Yeah, we are citizen. Are you a Hindu?
Sri Lankan.
Yes. No. Are you a Hindu?
No, Christian.
Citizen. Are you a Hindu? But I am not able to identify you. Oh, no, atheist. This is how in India citizenship has no equality. It is naturally gender biased. There is no commonality. For instance, the term citizen itself has been supported by citizen from the city, like citizen. There is a bias in terms of rural people. And also in Tamil, Kudi Magan. Magan means sons. There is no space for daughter. There is no space for son, daughter, women. So it is women bias, gender bias. And also in Malayalam, it is Bauran. There also a son. There is no space for women. So this is how.
While in Hindi it is more of a, I think it's important to talk about the word Nagrikta because it's the bills that we are hearing about are being called Nagrikta Sanshothan Bill.
So do you give him? Can he speak?
Yeah.
He's in waiting list.
And Nagrikta as a word in Hindi for citizenship comes from Nagar, which is an urban understanding of a town, of a city. And in the old times, in fact, people used to consider residents of an urban space of a city as Nagrik of Nagar, Nagrikta. And the people from the villages were usually not termed as the citizen or Nagrik. So basically the idea that we are trying to put out is that the word in itself, the concept, the understanding, there are many understandings of the word citizenship.
Yeah, with this. Citizen in India, you have right to live, but you do not have right to land. Likewise, in India, citizen means a piece of paper, not humanity.
So I'll tell one experience that I have met some people from Sri Lankan refugee camps while I've been doing my PG in Pondicherry. So there was this camp situated near to my university. So those people have been around, like securities in the institute and so while I've talked to them, so after 1983 actually this inflow of Sri Lankan people began to India, and they were allocated these camp-like settlements to settle. And now after these 30-40 years also, they are in the same situation. So even after being here, they don't feel belong here. So that is what basically this excluding people using citizenship is about. Like they will be living here but not belong here. For example, considering the case of Sri Lankan people, they don't have access to government jobs, license, land or anything. So when I have talked to them, actually they have been practicing these traditional agricultural jobs in Sri Lanka while they were there. So when they came here and they are not really getting jobs, and they can't also import in traditional jobs, they're in a difficult situation. And also their cultural practices. So even if they are living here, they can't really practice or be them like that. So they were telling about this when speaking to me that Sri Lankan, the situation and the nature and the situation in Sri Lanka is so much similar to Kerala that they used to cook most of the things with coconut and so now when they came here, shifted to here, their food culture, everything has changed. And even here, they don't have this belonging. So that is the difficulty of it. That is how in everyday life they are struggling.
this is happening in context of a workshop that's related to oral narrative storytelling and like codified and codified knowledge systems. We were just discussing that how you go back like 2 to 3 generations, like even previous generations, some like and we were talking about like in a country like ours, wherein the tendency to keep records, to keep official records, to make official records in the first place has come in after like much later than it did like in a lot of other parts. To now identify and pin down someone's identity and like subsequently citizenship to their official papers, it's a very slippery rope to get on.
Another point this is just a memory that I suddenly triggered now that we didn't discuss, this idea about citizenship, I was reminded when my father said, when we were, so the question about passports and mobility and visas and how, and then he says, in those days we were British subjects. And then and that was what was written on the passport. And I never understood that this was what was written on the passport. And the way he said that in those days we had more mobility, global mobility as British subjects, I think the point about citizenship is also, it's entangled with sovereignty and democracy and national boundaries and territories, and also about giving asylum to refugees of different kinds. And that's, of course, the democratic version of citizenship that we discussed. So what we are seeing now is the undemocratic version of citizenship, which is what we demonstrated to you in a performative manner. And I think what was very revealing for us is by finding words in Tamil, Malayalam, Hindi, and English, and looking at the genealogy, the etymology of these words. It brought to mind the distinction between urban and rural. That if you are a citizen of a city or an urban, it was citizen. You are a citizen. It had a very clear urban connotation, and the clear gender bias that we noticed when we looked at the Tamil and Malayalam words for citizenship. And then the other question that came up that we discussed was the question of language and belonging, and what stays and what defines citizenship. And when speaking to people, it was always the question of having lived there versus having gotten that the official. So the question of the state as defining citizenship again became something very problematic, and that was what we would discuss most of our time. That the idea of citizenship was very much related to the question of the state and its dispensation of citizenship rights to individuals. And in that context, there were many stories that came up. So anybody wants to, you wanted to say something?
Actually, there is also this process how state uses this idea to exclude some proportion of their population for some people. And right now what we are witnessing is this exercise that is done by the state that has been systematically excluding a portion of our population. So even historically, from historical perspective, historically itself, this idea of nation state and citizenship has been used in many contexts to exclude a portion of people on the basis of different aspects.
I'm just gonna sing one verse from this Odia song. With my very limited knowledge of the song that I understand, I will try and like break it down for you after. And if any of you know the song, just join it. Ye desho ye mati, motomoi mati. Ye desho ye bataro nati sujalo sufalo sasha shamalo sujalo sufalo sasha shamalo roki bataro nati. So basically, ye desho ye mati is this is my like land and this is my state. So the song, though it talks about like my mother tongue, my land, like right now if you look the song up, it's like it's very like politicized and it's like very like it's a kind of pride that like you see in like a lot of states that they have, which is very yeah. And it's also like when like what she said about the easiest way to feel included is to exclude a group of people, and I think language does that very easily. So and we talked about that when talking about citizenship.
Okay. In the course of discussion, we discussed Kenjin Sunde, who's a Tibetan tribal activist lives in Chennai and in Dharamshala, in exile as he writes and articulates his experiences as a refugee, as a Tibetan refugee in India through his writings. So we thought we'll just wrap up our presentation with 6 lines of his from a poem that he calls Betrayal. My father died defending our home, our village, our country. I too wanted to fight, but we are Buddhist. People say we should be peaceful and non-violent. So I forgive our enemy, but sometimes I feel I betrayed my father.
I just wanted to just say that we really enjoyed this group exercise. We had some real fun. We talked. It was very exciting for each one of us, and I think the performative aspect kind of was just something that came organically. And what I noticed in retrospect after we've discussed it now is that if the kind of nuances and problematizing of the understanding of citizenship that came out in just that 1 hour of 5 of us talking, the different layers starting with the words in different languages up to stories that we see, including the one from Chennai. There was examples of Delhi yesterday, day before, Punyan caught in a riot situation in Delhi just to make
in the neighborhood.
Huh?
I wasn't caught. It was happening in the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood. He was not caught in it, but he was in the neighborhood. So those kind of all these stories. I mean, I just in retrospect, I'm thinking that just this 1 hour of brainstorming, discussing a big concept has given us such a rich narrative that we presented to you. I think this 1 hour of reading just one article in a library, I'm just saying, of somebody else's argument, which you need to really dig through the words before. I think, pedagogically speaking, I think this was a great exercise for us, and for us to uncover the different layers of a macro concept, which is thrown at us in the classroom, in newspapers, in the and other popular media, and we use ourselves in so many ways. But I think this exercise was very enriching, at least for me as a researcher.